thing is kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 1, 2, 3,
Look, it's spinning.
spinning, spinning, spinning. So can you hear me from there?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds okay?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's working.
It is now.
Well, yeah, it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone. 6:01, not too bad. Not too bad. So anyway, good evening. This is our second session tonight with Facebook Live. Again, this is a way to try to reach out to stay in contact with the community, talk a little bit about what's going on in the department, what's going on in our community, our city here in Newport News, and then some conversations around the country. We were on earlier. Annie, it's good to have you. Thank you. We were on, and there, and Jamie too. There you go. But we were on earlier today, and we had a really good session, and really appreciated some of the conversation and comments. It meant a lot to me. So I've got a list here of some things I want to touch base on. But really, more important for me is to really hear from you all and any questions that you might have. So Jamie's here with me again, and she'll keep me on track. If I go too fast and skip a question, or if the questions come in and it bumps something, I will do my very best to go back and hit it. Or if something that we don't get answered, Jamie's taking some notes for me on the side. So earlier today we were rolling pretty good, and all of a sudden there was a blackout. So they had a power surge in the training room, I believe, and it zapped everything. So we turned it back on, and so that's why there were two different sessions. I apologize. Or it could have just been that I kicked a plug and unplugged something, but I'll go with the power surge. So, Annie, it's good to have you. William, good to be back. Good to see you, my friend. Barbara, thank you. Darlene, good to have you on board. Kelly, good to see you. Michelle, good to see you. Dorothy, hey, hope all is well. Thank you and your team for great. Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you. So, a couple things I guess to start out with. I think it's important to be transparent about where our city is. So I used to go to a lot of community meetings, and I would ask people about crime, and it was some of the numbers and incidents that they talked about were just very elevated. And I understand perception is reality, and to try to be upfront as we can. But crime right now, with the virus that we've had and the situations we've had with a lot of the protests, demonstrations, rallies, crime in the city is down 6%. Our property crime is doing very, very well. Our robberies are down. Our aggravated assaults are slightly up. We still continue to have some issues there. Domestic violence is a little lower than what we were last year. I think we're making some headway, and we're really getting some good feedback, and that's important. So Jamie, I know I missed a couple. We can scroll back up right there. Marilyn, it's good to have you on board. Thank you. Sonia, how are you? Oh, that's not. Is it Iva? E- Good to have you speaking, keeping the community. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Rebecca, thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Nettie, it's good to see you back. Thank you. I hope all is going well in the neighborhood. You guys kind of really set the benchmark of how we're deploying and working in some of our neighborhoods. Carrie, thank you. I appreciate that. Chief Joe, I'm proud of the work. Keisha, thank you. It's good to have you back. I appreciate that. Kim, good afternoon, Chief, from the Friendship Law. There we go. Darlene, want to know why. Here we go. Want to know why they're protesting the Confederate monument when they're shooting every single. Oh wait, where do we go?
Right here.
Darlene, I want to know why they're protesting the Confederate monument when they're shooting every single week in Newport News and Hampton. So, Darlene, people have some strong feelings, and I understand. Everything here in Newport News has been very, very peaceful. I just got off the phone with a individual having a demonstration this weekend over at CNU, and it was a really good conversation. So I understand, symbols mean different things to different people, and I am very fortunate. I think we're all very fortunate here in our city that we're able to come together and reason and have conversations. City Council on Tuesday talked about the monument here, and I will tell you, I didn't really know where it was until a couple months ago, but city manager laid out a clear plan with the city attorney and the mayor about where the city council is going and to have discussions. So I understand there's a group that will be there tomorrow. I plan to go there and interact with them, talk with them, but everything's going to be peaceful. I think the citizens in Newport News are. I think we're really kind of setting the footprint of how it should look. And people have opinions and discussions, and I really appreciate our citizens. I have the utmost respect for them. Our youth, I wanted to also make sure, since I'm on youth for a second, just say congratulations to all those seniors who graduated high school. I know this year has been very, very different. I got to attend a lot of the high school graduations at Todd Stadium, and it was really nice, and to see some of the kids that are in our young adult police commissioners group. Um, but even in some of the bad weather, it was just really, really good to see. And I'm impressed with the youth. Um, I believe in our city. I believe in our community, our conversations. I think that's why we do have good dialogue. And I don't anticipate any problems at the protest tomorrow at the statue there. And I'll get up and, like I said, I'll interact with the crowd and talk to them. And they've been very upfront about what their intentions are, and it's going to be peaceful. And I think that sets the tone for good conversations, and tomorrow and the days following. So, but I understand, Darlene. I understand what you say. I do. And Darlene, it's funny. It's not funny. It's odd that comment. I guess that I said earlier that earlier in the week there was a female that came up and came to headquarters. She didn't have an appointment. She just wanted to see me. And I was in some meetings with another group, and they said, Chief, she's downstairs, and this female was crying. And scroll back up for me, Jamie. And I want to stay away with Jesse for a minute. This comment's been so she was crying, and I finally got down to her. I brought her up to my office, and she had been waiting for me for 45 minutes. Tears were rolling down her face, and Darlene, she said exactly what you did. She said, my son was killed in this city, and she said, please don't let my son be a statistic. And Darlene, that really hit me. She said, despite everything going on and the stuff going on around the country, here in Newport News, my son was killed 2 months ago. And I'm familiar with her case. We will solve that case. But she just made a real impact on me. And so I understand what you're saying, and I really felt for her. We really connected, and that was a good conversation. Ben, thank you. Ben, thank you, my friend. Your leadership and transparency. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Lynn, good to have you here. Thank you. Barbara, God bless all Newport, one of the best police departments around. Wow. Barbara, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Marianne, love the police department officers. Marianne, thank you so much. I am very blessed to work with great men and women in this organization. We're human. We make mistakes. We don't always get it right. It's okay to say we're sorry, and we try to do better today than we did yesterday, and look forward to doing better tomorrow. We look around at what departments are getting right. We learn from others' mistakes. We're constantly looking at ourselves to see how we can do better. But I am surrounded by great men and women, both sworn and civilian, both. And I'm very, very thankful, very, very thankful to be working in this organization in this city. So did I? Oh, look. So she's correct. So Eva, is that? Oh man, see, I don't want. I'm going to make myself look bad. You said it right the first time. Listen, thank you, and I'm glad you're here, Jonathan. So, Jonathan, you're killing me. Oh, hey, Jonathan. By the way, here's to you. Wait, let's see if I get it right. Here's to you, my friend. Jennifer, how are you? Hope all is well. Colleen, thank you very much. That means a lot. I appreciate that. I will tell you, it's been some long couple weeks, and I was talking to our traffic division, special operations, our canine, who really helped a lot with some of the demonstrations and making sure that the marches and everybody's safe. And we put in a lot of hours and a lot of days, but I think that's what we do. I would be lying to you if I didn't say I was getting a little tired. I did get off on Sunday and was able to relax a little bit and reflect back. But yeah, we had I will tell you, I had some comments that really got me, struck me at our 12 o'clock session. So yeah, it's good to smile and laugh and know that we're all in this together, and we're trying to do the best thing for our city and our community. And I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Every time I see one of your officers taking a break in Jefferson Commons, I stop to talk to them, and they tell them to stay safe. Wow, thank you so much. That's you know what? It's things like that mean a lot to people. Some of the recruits who are seeing some of the things going around the country. They ask me, they say, Chief, do the citizens, are they want to work with us? Do they want us in their neighborhoods? And And I think posts like that and things that you say, whether you write in a comment or you stop and have a one-on-one interaction, that really means a lot. It goes far with people, and I really appreciate that, and I know the officers do. Two very separate issues that have nothing to do with each other. Um,
At the monument.
oh, about the mind. Oh, I got you. I'm sorry. Okay, Mary, so grateful for these briefings. It's nice to know that what's going on. Mary, thank you. I hope it's beneficial, and um, yeah, it's just a way. I know things get so busy and things with life and the COVID virus and people not wanting to be around and out and worried about distancing and the hustle and bustle of family and going this way and that way. So I appreciate the interactions, and I know there's a lot better things that people could be doing than looking at me or listening to me. But if you get some time and you scroll through, and it's just some of the comments and things that I want to kind of bring you up to speed on of what's going on in our city and the department and things we're looking at. So I was not a big fan. I'm not sure that I still am. It's hard to talk into a little box, but I do believe it is a great way to reach people, and I'm learning. And Jamie and the media relations staff has really pushed me, and so I hope it is beneficial, and I appreciate that. Lisa, thank you very much. Deborah, thank you. Mary, yes, class of 2020. Like I said, I got to go to several graduations. One it was a little rainy, and the other was really really warm. But to see the students' faces they walk across, I'm um, I'm a big proponent of focusing on youth. One of my three pillars for me is the health and wellness of this organization. Second is we're going to be the police in Newport News. I'm not going to allow individuals to target neighborhoods and citizens. I don't want people being afraid to live in their own communities, kids hearing gunshots. Um, and then the third is we're going to have a strong focus on community policing, community interaction, and a heavy influence with the youth of our city. I think there are some very talented young men and women. I think our schools are filled with talent, and I like interacting with them. I enjoy going to the high school basketball games and football games and seeing our youth. We have a strong partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. I think all those things pay off. I think it helps officers. I know it helps me, and I hope it helps our community and some of the interactions that we have with youth. So, yes, congratulations to everyone who graduated this year. The COVID virus is a little different, and graduation was a little different. But I am so proud of you and so very impressed. And I wish, whether you're going into the workforce or military, um, college, whatever it is, I'm very proud of you, and I wish each of you and everyone the best. Thank you for all your everything. Keep us safe, and thank you for taking the time to these chats. I appreciate it. Amy, thank you so much. That means a lot. I mean, I'm gonna stop here just a minute, Jamie, and some of the comments that are coming in. Please don't be dismayed. People, that they're not being. It's not really adding to the conversation. So I'm trying not to show any disrespect, but the questions that are focusing about what we're doing and about situations in Newport News and our city and our police department, I'm going to respond to those, and we're just gonna skip right across the other stuff. Dorothy, much respect to you and your department interaction with the community during the protests and marches in our city. Oh, Dorothy, did you see some of that? Your transparency and guidance definitely sets the right tone. Dorothy, thank you very much. I will say this: in the last 3 weeks, I've certainly got my steps in. But I have enjoyed. A funny thing about walking with individuals is you get to know people, and you have some really good conversations. Um, I'll tell you, twice yesterday and then once today already, individuals have just shown up and said, "Hey, Chief, we'd like to pray with you and for the city and the department." And I was like, "Wow, it meant a lot to me." And so I just kind of stopped what I was doing and spent some time, and that means a lot to me. I am a man of faith, and to hear people come in and just pray for our community and safety of our city and officers and unity, that just speaks volume. I think that's one of the things that sets our city apart. The relationship that we have, and that we're able to sit down and have conversations together. I think we get that from our mayor, our city council, our city manager, and it is a privilege to work for such great citizens and around such great people. I have a lot of my family from. Uh, when Newport News Police conducts an internal investigation, what does the investigation? What is the timeline? So a lot of it depends. Most of the time, we try to have that stuff done in about 60 to 90 days. We usually get in the smaller cases can be done very quickly. The small stuff, I don't like to wait on. If it's something where the officer says, "Yes, look, I did this, I said that, I used profanity, or I did this, I did that. I don't need I don't need a book, right? Let's move on that quickly. There are other cases that have multiple people to interview, or someone that we can't get a hold of that's moved, and we try to track them down and looking at is there police footage or footage from a camera system. But I like to move very, very quickly. So about 45 days. I can extend it for a little bit if we need to. There are some circumstances that push it out further, but a lot of it really depends on the circumstances. If it's a citizen complaint about demeanor or some type of action, um, those usually go pretty fast, 30 to 45 days. And I will tell you, when I got here, I moved the Internal Affairs Division right under me. It was under an assistant chief. I wanted that to be directly under me because I want to speed up that process, cut out the middle person. Um, and anytime there's a complaint, regardless of the outcome, I'm going to be sending a letter and reaching out to the individual who made that complaint. So some of it depends on what the complaint is, how extensive it is. I will tell you, in 2018, we had 160,000 radio calls, 160,000 citizen interactions. We only had 106 complaints. In 2019, we had 180,000 radio calls. We went up 20,000 calls for service. And a lot of that was officer generated, where we had 180,000 interactions and we had 86 citizen complaints. So we went up 20,000 calls, but we dropped almost 20 complaints. That's moving in the right direction, but each one of those I look at, I read the notes on, the response to, make sure we have it documented. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. Some of it just depends on how extensive the situation is, but most of them move fairly quickly. I try to keep a push on that. I don't want that to stack up and get behind. When people make complaint, I think it's and whether the officer was right or wrong, or there's middle ground. I want the officer to get quick feedback as well as individual who may make the complaint. With the calls nationally for change in police training, many citizens do not actually know how police are trained. Do you find Citizens Academy is a valuable tool? Yes. Keith, I think the Citizens Academy is one of the best things we have. I have a great instructor, Monica White. I guess I should say overseer, facilitator. She puts together a great academy. We meet a couple times a week. She can do it in 8 or 9 weeks. She does a phenomenal job. That is where we get our citizens for our citizens review board and for use of force, where citizens actually get a say, because they get a class on here's what the law is, and here's the Newport News Police Department's use of force policy, and here's what they can do, and they're able to sit at a table, and their vote directly impacts the outcome, and it's in policy, it's out of policy, or it's in policy, but there's something we can do better with training. So I also use it as a training module. I use it as a transparency with the citizens. But the only prerequisite I have is that they have some background, some knowledge, and if they're going to commit to go through that Citizens Academy, I think it is phenomenal. It does great work for us. We do 3 or 4 a year, and then we have even an alumni, and those are the individuals that I ask to sit on that board. And it is a tremendous, tremendous insight of what we do in policing. So absolutely, Darlene, thank you so much. I appreciate your comments, and that means a lot. Lawrence, good evening, Chief. Lawrence, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Kim, good evening and bless all in the city, especially those who are. Kim, I appreciate that. Thank you. Terry, you're an awesome role model for what a man and a police officer could. Wow. I appreciate that, Terry. Thank you. I joke with people. My father was in the military for a while, and he worked at a paper company and then ran his computer business. My mother was a elementary school teacher. She taught the third grade for 30 years, and I grew up in church. And they just taught me the value of people, not only my faith, but the way I was brought up. It's what we feel in our heart, humanity, empathy, and understanding. That's the same type of officers I want into this organization. Those that think outside the box. I'm not looking for people just to answer radio calls. People that invest in others, invest in our community, that take the time to interact with citizens and primarily our youth, solve problems, get people the right resources they need. Times are hard. COVID virus and being out of work and frustrating, and situations that are going on around our country, individuals that are challenges with poverty, or single parents trying to raise children and working 2 jobs to stay ahead. I know there's a lot of challenges, and sometimes we're just victim of circumstance. And it is my hope that I can run this department like a family. I want individuals who work here, whether they're in uniform or civilian, that they know they're valued and that they will treat citizens the same way. Um, but I appreciate that. I never really saw myself as a role model. I just know that it is important to care about people and to treat people the same way that you would want to be treated, or your family or your son and daughter would want to be treated. So I appreciate that, man. That meant a lot. Anthony, thank you very much. Ellie, thank you. I appreciate that. Deborah, my father was a police officer, and I have nothing but respect for the Office of Newport News. Deborah, thank you. Thank you for your father's service. I'm sorry, and wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Jonathan. Come see. Jonathan, I will do, man. I promise. I will do. One of my friends is about to graduate your academy, July. So, wow. Well, Heather, I will tell you, I'm looking forward to this class graduating. They already know where they're going. I'm excited. We're going to have our ceremony, and I really am looking forward to them getting out there and getting to work. They'll be on field training for a while, uh, maybe 10 to 12 weeks, and then they'll be on their own. But you're always learning and continuing in this job. You never have it like, oh, hey, we got everything. I learn more every day, and I certainly make enough mistakes daily. But that means a lot, and I hope to see you at graduation. But I'm really looking forward to it. And it's just they've come a long road, and they're almost there. Shay, you and the entire department have renewed my trust and faith. Wow, Shay, I appreciate that. It's an ongoing process, but I think we just have to continue to. We can say whatever we want, can write it down, say it from a podium, or recite it from an office. But I think at the end of the day, our actions tell if what we're saying is, if we really believe what we're saying. And I will tell you, I am blessed to work in this city, surrounded by men and women who care about people. Do we have bad apples? Sure. Every profession does. But I try to move quickly to address that if we do come across negative behavior. The promotions that I made over the last 2 years, the group that's getting ready to get promoted at the end of the month, end of July, I'm sorry, a diverse group of vast backgrounds, and I'm promoting people that have the same philosophy that we want to make this department the best on the East Coast, if not across the country, that we want to spend time with our community and invest in our citizens, our youth, and treat people with empathy and understanding. And so I hope that comes across, and I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Rose, thank you. I appreciate that. Felicia, I feel your sincerity, and that's for your care and service to our community. Felicia, thank you very much. Carolyn, Newport News is blessed to have you. Carolyn, are you trying to get me choked up? It doesn't look good to get choked up on the big screen, right? Thank you. That means a lot to me. Mary, thank you for all that you do in the police, men and women. I appreciate that. Rosalie, Rosalie, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll make sure I share that. Thank you very much. Willie, I appreciate you, my friend. Joseph, wow. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate all you're doing. Thank you. And what's up? And what is up with the fireworks in our city? I always actually, when I got hired here, it was back on July. It was July 4th weekend, right? July 2nd. And one of the first events I got to go to was the fireworks, and I thought it was amazing. Um, so I was a little bummed that we're not having them this year, but I understand with the virus, and we want people to be safe and not get sick. So I will tell you that if you come across any officers, they're going to have some things to hand out to kids and families if you'd like, a flag and some light sticks and some different things, maybe some treats we throw in there. But yeah, I know, Mary. I wish we had it, but we'll get back there. Anybody mention a possible memorial for Katie Thine? Yeah, I think it would be nice. So I will tell you, we did not get to have our police memorial service um, for officers who have given the ultimate sacrifice in this profession. My plan was then and still is to have a service this year. I think it's important for the officers who have given their life, and Katie earlier this year. Um, uh, that's still in the process. I need us to get out of the phase we're in on to the next phase to make sure that we can do it and be safe. But I'm still committed to doing that. I think we owe it to her and everyone who lost their life in serving this community this year and over the last 100 years in our city. So I'm still committed to do that. We're just looking for the right time frame. But I appreciate that, and that thought means a lot. Thank you for your love and passion. Wow, Ms. Nelson, thank you so much. And let me say this so I'm clear. Your comment, thank you for the love and passion you have for the people. And that's all people, young and old. Doesn't matter to me about race, doesn't matter to me about color, ethnicity, it doesn't matter to me about where you live or your zip code or your income. This is the profession that I chose, and I've done it for 26, 25, almost 27 years. I believe it is a noble profession. I believe it's a profession you can get up every day and help people. Um, and that means a lot to me. And I don't take it for granted to be in this position, to work with the men and women and work with the men and women of this community and this city. So I really appreciate that. And I want you to know that my commitment is to create the best department. I certainly cannot do it on my own, but to invest not only in the men and women, but also in our citizens, our community, our businesses, our faith leaders. And I appreciate the relationship that we have with the city of Newport News. Anthony, I wrote with Newport News, the officers care and are always doing their best. I encourage you. Wow, Anthony, our Ride On program is getting ready to get back up into full swing. I appreciate that. It's always good feedback. Um, uh, but it's a good thing. And sometimes the best ambassadors we have are the officers who are out there doing the job. And thank you, Anthony. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Joseph, it's caught driving time at work. Can you please do something to help me get the charge reduced? I can give you some advice. Don't drive after you've been drinking. Uber, get a taxi, something. Be safe, my friend. Okay, be careful. Nancy, great job, Chief. Loving having the Newport News. Do you remember Brian Cummings? Oh my gosh, Brian Cummings, my friend. Police Department criminal. Yes, my cousin. Wait, Brian Cummings is your cousin? Um, Also, Gene Boucher. Yes, told me that you were the. Uh, well, I don't know about the best, but Brian Cummings was a good friend of mine. Did a great job there. He did a lot of the planning, accreditation. Really helped guide the department from the administrative side of the house. And sorry to see him take so soon in life, but he was a fighter, and he was a good friend of mine. And I absolutely do remember him. And Gene Boucher as well. Annie, it's wonderful that you do this Facebook chat. It shows everyone how much you care, and it's wonderful. Police department. Annie, thank you very much. I don't know if you can see that in my face, but I do, and I think these moments, this time of the week, I think despite all the conversation going on around the country, concerns about police and quality, I think if we can come together and sit down and have a conversation and interact, listen to each other, I really think we can solve just about anything. We may not always agree, but we can compromise and find that room, and at least we understand each other and perspectives. I know people look at things differently and feel differently about different things, but I think just being able to have a conversation goes a long way. So I appreciate that. Paul, we're behind the blue key. Paul, thank you. Jack, okay. Shay Nolan Trail, let's go 5 miles. 5 miles. What? Is that like that's like in a car, right? Debbie, no, Shay, that's good. Debbie, good evening, Chief. Thank you for being you. As you know, I'm a really big. Debbie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate your support. Uh, Winnie, not sure if you're aware of her site. Please stop by.
Oh, she's responding to Michael about Katie's memorial.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I see. Yep. Naya, you're the best thing in our. Wow, thank you, Naya. I appreciate that. Kelly, more driving during the day. More people.
More people.
More people. Okay, driving during the day up and down Jefferson Avenue, dangerously swerving, intoxicated. Yep. Uh, Kelly, that's a great comment. It's a very good observation. We have way too many accidents in our city, and some of the accidents become fatal. I do have a traffic division. We have used them a lot in special operations as we've really focused on some of the demonstrations, protests. We've had about 20 in our city. But I did create a traffic division this year. I had worked hard to get it. You're absolutely right. Jefferson Avenue and Warwick, those are places we got to spend a lot of time on traffic enforcement. Not everybody needs a ticket, but I do need people to slow down, be cognizant. As you know, especially the summertime, there's more people out. The kids are out. Um, so yes, that is something that we focus on. We did a traffic checkpoint last night on Bland Avenue, uh, just to make sure people had driver's license, everything was okay in their car, and I want them to remember that we're still out there. But please, 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 please drive safe. Kim, I feel folks need to remember there's no such thing as perfect. Wow. However, I think it's acceptable. Police officer in our city. Wow. I think you're working, striving to develop, train. Wow. In different officers, citizens, their actions.
Hmm.
And I've seen it in 4 decades. Wow. Well, Kim, thank you very much. I think a lot of it goes into training. I think a lot of it goes into expectations. I think a lot sets the tone. Um, a lot is our expectations, our citizens holding us accountable, our city council, our mayor holding us accountable, our city managers. I get asked a lot of hard questions. That's okay. That's important. But I appreciate that. I really that means a lot, and we still have a long way to go. But we are doing things better today than we did yesterday, and I hope that tomorrow is even better than today. So that's a very good post. I appreciate that. Destiny, thanks for joining, and thanks for saying hi to Jamie. That's just great. No, it's Destiny. Hope all is well. Cheryl, so scared right now to be an officer. Never stop giving up, regardless. Cheryl, I appreciate that. I think the people that are in this profession for the right reasons are going to see it through. I know times are challenging and hard, frustrations and tensions, but at the end of the day, we step back and take a breath. We work, talk, and have conversations. We'll get through everything together. It's a great post. Thank you. I hope you're really speaking from the heart. Well, I guess the stuff I talk about, if you see us doing it, then hopefully that my actions. I certainly wouldn't want you just to believe me because I say it. I hope that the things I'm talking about, that are the actions that you see in this department, um, from a diverse, with the focus we put on training, from a diverse command staff, a diverse academy that comes through here, how we interact with our citizens, how we've had peaceful demonstrations and rallies, those that have started here at headquarters and went other places, our citizen interactions. Now, I will tell you, Mr. Johnson, that we don't always get it right, nor do I. We make mistakes. We're imperfect. Just because we wear this uniform and this badge, we are held to a higher standard, and I'm fine with that. And that's in fact that's how it should be. But we make mistakes, just like anyone else. We try to put things in place and reward good behavior, and address behavior that's going down the wrong road. Um, that's a great. I appreciate you holding me accountable, and I hope that the things I'm saying that you see play out. When I talk about focusing on youth, young adult police commissioners, a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from every high school that we work with every Thursday for 3 hours. We talk about diversity and policing and how they see their city government. We talk about drug issues and problems and issues and things with gangs. Adopting every middle school. Have an officer in every high school and every middle school with a school resource officer, but adopting every 26 middle ugh, adopting 26 elementary schools where we spend a half hour a week, whether we're having lunch with kids, reading to them in the library, just saying hello in the hallway, saying hello when they get on the bus or off the bus. Youth is a passion for me, going to high school football games, high school graduations. I think that stuff matters. And I want any event you see us do, promotion, graduation, award ceremony, I always have youth involved. That's to send a message to the community and the youth that I care about them. But it's also send a message to our officers that that's a big focus for me. Having citizens on our promotional panels that help me select the next leadership in the community. So that's just a couple examples. Maybe look at our Facebook page and we do an annual report at the end of each year. So I hope that you see the things that I talk about and focus on, that I hope you see us doing it. That's a great post. I appreciate it. Renee, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Evelyn, Citizens Academy Monica is phenomenal. Yes, it is. And I would encourage people who want to know more about this department. It's such an insight. The instructors really like being a part of it and sharing things with the community, and I appreciate that. That's great. Hey, how are you doing, Stephanie? He really does.
She responded.
Okay. Parker, good afternoon, Commissioner Drew. My family and I are honored to call you a compassionate, caring, and understanding commissioner. It's really wow, Parker. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you. Hope all is well. Laura, let's see the officers that actually have a beat, not the what? Let's see the officers that actually have a beat, not the desk jockey. Oh, you saying you would rather see officers that are on the street? Is that oh, you're calling me I'm sorry, I'm not following that one. I apologize. Michelle, thank you. The chief is out in the community every day.
He's responding to
Well, Jack, I appreciate that. It's okay. Sometimes people don't see it. It's all right. I will tell you, I've certainly got my steps in the last 3 weeks. But I am a big proponent of community walks, being out with the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, and it's okay. People have their comments and their feelings, and I understand, and it's okay. I got to spend a little bit of time out at the traffic checkpoint last night and walk the line and talk to citizens and officers that were there, and just make sure their spirits are high and just encouraging them and thanking people. So it was a good event last night. Make sure that they were okay, and it worked out well. Naya, perhaps our other departments that have yet to adopt your leadership style of success could solicit your guidance and integrity. Naya, I'm going to share this with you. There are several departments that are looking at individuals in this department to come lead their department, if that makes sense. And I mean from the rank of lieutenant up. Um, and I believe that's the quality of due to the quality of leadership that we have in the department, the men and women. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about departments that are looking at other people in this department to come help them run their department, and that's impressive. Thank you for your service. You really are for the people also a great heart. Antoinette, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. You seem like I'm going to smoke. Well, Angelo, please be safe. Be careful. All right. I'm just going to leave it at that first sentence. A good dude. I like that. That's good. We are former residents of Newport News. Wendy, we're former residents of Newport News. We moved to Colorado. Oh my gosh. Colorado, that's like, oh man, it's cold up there. We always have been and always will be proud. You do a great job with your officers. Thank you. Always praying. Wow. I will take every prayer and thank you. Stay warm in Colorado and come back and visit us in here in Newport News. Come back and see the water. Annie, sir, you don't need to try to the best police force in the East Coast. Wow. Annie, thank you. I appreciate that. Amy, I like what you're doing. Accountability should not have to be mandated. Morales cannot be legislated. Kudos to you for handling your business. Thank you. Amy, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I could not have said that better. We can write all the policies we want, and it's good to have things written down, but at the end of the day, we're all accountable for our individual actions and what's in our heart and how we treat people, and that's very well put. Leslie, thank you very much. Kelly, I'm an elementary school teacher in Newport News. My students this year thought you were, oh my gosh, because look, so without bringing too much attention to my hairstyle, I was out at some of the events and several people said, Chief, would you step back under the umbrella? Would you step back under the covering? And I'm not sure what they meant by that. I felt it a couple of days later, but I really had a good time with the students, and man, just seeing them graduate, and their families, and how excited they were. And I know it was a little different, but I'll tell you what, I love the youth. That is our future, and I have faith in them. I have faith in them. I know sometimes they can drive us all crazy, right? I'm sure I did too with my parents. But I had people that helped me as I was coming up, my mom and dad, my youth pastor, my baseball coaches, basketball coaches, just people who looked out for me and shared wisdom and guidance and helped me along. And even in my police career, um, so I think that all is we're willing to play it forward and help others. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. I just think that was what really sets this city apart. Angelo, how diverse is your police department? Do you feel it needs more diversity? Angelo, I think we got one of the most diverse departments in the country. If you look at our, now there are some areas where I struggle. I'm going to share two with you. But our academy class is extremely diverse. Our leadership is diverse. And because our recruiting mandate and because we, not just our academy, but our department, our units, our divisions, but there are two areas that I struggle with here that I'm really trying to focus on. I do not have enough female leadership in the senior level in this department. And I know there's some challenges with what I have heard. It's not that we're not promoting them, a lot of it is that they're not applying. And I know there's some issues with child care and taking care of families. I understand that. I'm trying to work around that, but I do not have enough female leadership in the department. The second thing is we have a growing population of Latino Hispanic community, and there's some language barriers there. So at the beginning of last year in 2019, we put a mandate in that 10% of our academy class has to speak Spanish coming in. And nothing against Rosetta Stone and learning it, but I need people that are here already know it. And I got some, not really pushback, but, Chief, we can't really determine who applies. And I hear that, but I think we have to be progressive and go out and find individuals who speak Spanish, and bring them and try to convince them to come to this department. And if I have to go to New York or Houston, um, California, Florida, if I have to go out of this country to find individuals to come here to join this department, we just have to put the effort. I will tell you that as we move forward, we have met that mark, but I want 10% of the recruits speaking Spanish in this department to come into our academy starting from last year. And we run 3 academies a year now, so we're getting there. But those are the 2 areas I really focus on: female leadership and individuals who are able to speak Spanish. I've got to do a better job communicating with that community. Robin, Angel, that was a great question, by the way. Robin, as always, you're doing great with these Facebook chats. I appreciate that, Robin. I don't know. I go back and look at them sometime. I'm like, oh my gosh, could I embarrass myself anymore? Dexter, I hope these calls continue long term. Have open discussions important. Dexter, wow, it's a great comment, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I will tell you, I was not a big fan. I didn't know how well it would be received, but Jamie and the staff here in the media relations said that this is really a direction we need to go. So I appreciate that. It's a little odd talking into a camera, but I do like the feedback interaction. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Annie, I can see it in your face in here. Annie, thank you. Putting the unity back in community. Leslie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dorothy, can you discuss the latest policy on officers intervene? Sure, with officers to avoid some things that come throughout the country. Right. So I did a presentation to City Council, and I've had several conversations about what we're doing already. Right, heavy push on community engagement, and what are things have we done differently since what happened in Minneapolis, the tragic event with Mr. Floyd, and then in Atlanta with Mr. Brooks. There were a couple things. One thing we talked about is I wanted to, and I've been working on it for a while. I didn't want to just wait for something to happen. It just kind of, it'll actually start on July 2nd. But sergeant to officer ratio, our evidence and science shows us that the sooner a sergeant is on a scene, complaints decrease and use of force incidents decrease. So instead of a sergeant being responsible for 8, 10, or 12 officers, we have a sergeant balance now, supervision balance now, of 1 supervisor to every 6 officers. And that's important. That creates a better structure, a better knowledge of the officer, and what their strengths are, what things they can work on and build with, what they want to do in the department, and kind of creating veins and venues to help them there. The other thing is in our policy, we had the duty to report. So if I did something wrong, physically or verbally, another individual who saw that, they have a responsibility to report it to my sergeant. But because of Minneapolis and we saw the situation there, we changed. I looked at some different departments, and I found in Baltimore, Maryland, they had a good policy on duty to intervene. And I took that. Captain Morgan Tegens helped me put that into our use of force policy. Nate wrote it in there like the next day, but June 5th, we added a duty to intervene. And basically what that is, and I'll use myself, if the chief of police gets into an argument with someone and I become to get hot and heated, that I expect someone, assistant chief, officer, lieutenant, sergeant, a recruit, to step in and say, Chief, let me talk to this individual. Or if I'm doing something physically wrong, that they would step in and stop me. Not just say something verbally, but it may have to physically get in between us. And I got to create an atmosphere here that I don't want people to be afraid. Well, I'm an officer and this officer is more senior. I'm an officer and this individual is a sergeant or lieutenant. So that's why I try to use me. If I'm doing something wrong, verbally or physically, I expect a recruit who's not even an officer yet, that they have a responsibility to intervene. I think that's how we hold each other accountable, and we continue to make this profession the most professional that we can be. But we did put that in there on June 5th. And I would have never thought we had to put that in writing, but I think sometimes it's better so people can clearly see it. And it just, I think it's another step. It's a culture we have to enforce, remind, muscle memory. But I think it's also important to show how serious we are about it, to have it in writing. Speaking about officers line, we need a special license plate for. Oh wow, okay. Debbie, if you're interested in Citizens Police Academy, does it? Can you scroll down just a little bit? Does it? It's amazing. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for wanting our city to be different. Wow, Lisa, thank you. It means a lot. Thank you. Sorry, Chief, but I have to say, oh, I see you making fun of me now. It's too funny. So comment there. Look, just so everybody understands. Ha ha. There was a rally, and at the end of the rally, it was great. It was gospel, a lot of good feeling, and they did a dance. Electric slide or slope, whatever it is. I couldn't do it, and I tried. I bumped into 3 or 4 people. I embarrassed myself. But there was an older lady who said, "Chief, chief, 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 just follow me." And I did, and sort of got the hang of it. And then the song quit. So at least that's going to be my story. But yeah, thank you. Mike came to our event. Ashland reschedule. Yeah, absolutely reschedule that. Okay. Wait. Love the recognition of the areas that you need to diversify. Fantastic. Keisha, thank you. Yeah, it's just it is what it is, and we have a real push right now to attract females into our profession. They bring a different set of a different mindset, I think, at times, and I want to have a diverse organization, but I really want more female leadership, and yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Susan. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Uh, Celestina, thank you. I appreciate that. And just signed on. How are you? Missed the department. Well, hurry up and get back in and quit hiding out. We miss you too, and I appreciate everything you do with the volunteers and all the stuff that you bring to the table. You have a heart for people. You're a mentor to me, and I look forward to seeing you back. I love what you have to say on making our community better and the fact that you're a man of faith and you use that in trying to make a difference in the community. I have faith in you and the city. Oh, wow. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. I love the new duty to intervene policy. Kim, yeah, like I said, we put it in writing on, I wrote it in pencil on June the 5th. On Monday, that was a Saturday. They came in on Monday. I had them put it on paper and send it out. And that was something I learned from watching the national conversation. So I think we always have to listen and look at things, and it was just something that I think we needed the direction we go. And it's been received very well. I think for the most part here that officers would do that, but I like feeling. I think our citizens like seeing it. I think it's important to have it there spelled out. So thank you, Kim. Kate, I appreciate that. Thank you. Great to have a duty to intervene policy. Jack, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Watching in Texas. Does that mean they're from Texas?
She's in Texas right now.
It's
Yeah,
you're watching from. What are you? Look, whoa, wait, don't. So give me a second here. So you're tuned in to the Newport News Police Department while you're in Texas. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Steve, retired from Newport News. Wow, Steve. Thank you, my friend. I'm trying. I appreciate it. I got great people to work with, and let me stop here and say this. The reason that this department is seeing its successes, the reason that we have a 6% reduction in crime, the reason that we are having peaceful protests and good interaction and conversations, the reason that we play such an important role, important influence for us to interact with our community and our youth is because of the men and women who work here, both sworn and civilian. I give the individuals who work here all the credit in the world. Our successes are a direct response to them. Um, when we fall short and make mistakes, then I put that on me. I've got to find a better way to do things, better practices, better policy, better training, better instruction, better leadership. But I give all the credit, the success that we have, to the men and women who work here and do this job day in and day out, sworn and civilian. And of course, I believe that God has blessed this city and blessed this department. And I am truly humbled to be able to work here and have a great interaction with the citizens of this city. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I live in the area, but my sister was a Virginia Beach police officer. We appreciate you. Thank you, Christine, and thank you for your sister's service. Kathy, thank you. Kathy, thank you. That means a lot. Good afternoon, Chief. Love what you're. Thomas, thank you, my friend. Kate, love and support all of you. Appreciate that. Tina, we appreciate what you've done and continue to do for our city. Tina, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm scared. Yeah, help me with that. Savannah? What do you mean? Talk to me a little bit. Philip, need that in New. in New York. Zach from Ohio. Whoa, Zach. What part of Ohio, my friend? I will tell you, my mom and dad are still there. My sister, I grew up in Cincinnati area, just outside of Cincinnati. So, what part from Ohio, my friend? You got to give me something. Um, Jacob, afternoon, my friend. Hope all is well. Such an amazing example you are. Tisha, thank you. I appreciate that. Any chance you could get Jamie some camera time? She does a fantastic. No, I'm going to read it now. Look. Jamie trying to scroll through. She does do a fantastic job. I came down here to give her a hard time, and she was putting actually the presentation I did before City Council. She's recrafting, and she's a perfectionist, right? So she's correcting the spelling and moving the periods around, right? I'm trying to get a thought across, and she's like, "Yeah, no, there should be a comma here." So I tease her, but she does a great job. Media relations do a great job, and yeah, she's great. I appreciate that. Zach Dayton, there you go. Urbana University, have you heard of that? Spent a lot of time driving up through Dayton, Springfield. All that's good stuff. Uh, Annie,
She's
replying to Savannah.
Savannah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look, a couple other things I want to touch base here. Virtual bingo. I tease them, but they do look like they have a lot of fun. Milford, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Uh, Virtual bingo is every Monday and Wednesday from 1 to 2. That's on our Facebook page. If you log on and just look up bingo, they do some bingo, and I try to find a way to cheat a little bit, but can't figure it out yet. But it's a really good event. Our academy class that's in 23 graduates will graduate on July the 2nd. I'm looking forward to getting them out in the street. Um, we talked about duty to intervene. We talked about sergeant ratio. Just want to tell you a couple of things we have now, but the reason I'm mentioning them now is because I want to continue the training. I want to expand the training. Um, Training on autism, mental illness, de-escalation, procedural justice, critical incident training, other ways to deconflict. We have all that training. That's a lot of the conversation people are talking about. We already have that. I think this department is very, very progressive, but I want to take that to the next level. I want to continue to expand on that and move it and spend more time on that training. Zach, that's good, man. Linda, thank you very much. That's important. We talked about the protests, the demonstration rallies we've had. Again, they've all been peaceful. Most of them I've walked in. Officers have kind of put a bubble around the individuals they move. We're able to keep traffic moving. So it's been very, very well. I think we have 4 on Saturday and 1 Friday night. I plan to be at all of them. I think we will continue to do very well. I think the citizens here have been very, very respectful and as well. So I appreciate that. City Council, we had a City Council meeting at the work session before the council meeting actually started. I did a presentation and talked a little bit about what the department is doing already. What are some things we've changed, and what are we looking at into the future? So we gave a snapshot, and Jamie is putting that together, and we're going to lay it out. Linda, thank you. Jen, thank you very much. Yes, autism training. Yes, a very big part. We started that. We've had it. We also have Project Guardian. Detective Hauser has really been the push for that, where we have a register for people if they want to put their family member who has some challenges with autism, so that we know when we go to that address or that location, we may run into someone who has some challenges there, and it's better to know. But the more training we have about it, whether it's uniform or noises or how someone communicates or lights might affect people differently. The more training we can get, the better. And I've really met some very, very phenomenal people to help me understand autism better. And so you're absolutely right. Heather, Officer Lucas, great, professional, funny, and wow. Heather, I appreciate that. Thank you. Jacob, as a former police officer, I've had a conversation with my brother about the current situation going on up in Atlanta, where I'm originally from and where he lives. I'm worried for his safety, but he wants to see a defunding and dismantling of law enforcement up there. He had an arrest when he was 17, about 20 years ago, for insulting or flipping off a cop. Went to jail for a couple of hours. How do I bring him back into the fold? Jacob, that's a great question. And I think you have some conversations with him. People have different points of view, and there's a lot of things that officers are asked to respond to. You know as well. Responding to calls of people who suffer from mental illness, responding to calls who people that are homeless or suffer from drug addiction, and sometimes just responding to those calls in uniform, it sets a negative. It may have an impact on that individual. Oh, they're here to arrest me. They're not here to help me. They're here to arrest me. Jacob, I would try this. We respond to calls because sometimes others don't. We respond to calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't go home at 5 o'clock. Some other professions aren't going to come out after 5. Some other professions aren't going to come out on the weekend. We don't ever take a day off. You know that as well as I do. And sometimes it's easy. Oh, let the police handle it. Let the police handle it. But we have to have a 360-degree approach to social issues in our communities. Human services, the health department. Everybody plays a role. But oftentimes, police are responding to calls where my son or daughter won't get up and go to school, responding to individuals who have mental and physical challenges. And I'm not saying that I don't shun that. I'm just saying that there might be a better way to do those things. But right now, who's in the forefront? Jacob, ask him what other profession wears a body-worn camera that covers. School teachers don't wear a body-worn camera. Doctors don't wear that. We do. And I embrace that. And I'm not suggesting anyone else should. All I'm saying is we're trying to be open and transparent, and we try to continue to get better. We constantly look at ourselves, and we have to make life-threatening decisions in an instant. A lot of the simulators show that. I'm sure you're familiar with that. When we run people through a simulation, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I would have." When someone produces a cell phone when they come out of a store running it, we have to make split-second decisions. Now we are held to a higher standard, and I understand that, as we should be. But I think just have those conversations. But I think also, Jacob, you got to listen to him. You got to listen to his concerns, and I understand that. Some things that we arrested people for 20 years ago, and now we're talking about decriminalizing, right? But everybody has a point. Everybody has an opinion. I think just have those conversations. I admire you for asking that question, man. That's really cool. I wish you the best, and if there's anything I can do, I don't know if you're here locally, but if there's anything I can do, a conversation with him, I'd be glad to talk to him as well. Maybe sit down. I think I met an 11-year-old girl yesterday who was a little afraid of police, and we sat down right outside of headquarters, and I just had her talk to me a little bit about what she's into, what she likes, and it was a really good conversation. Good luck to you, my friend. Kim, as a parent of an autistic son, I appreciate the training, Project Guardian program. Wow, if I can help in any way. Kim, I would love for you to get involved. I think a lot of times it's one thing for an officer to read a PowerPoint presentation and have that training. What I'm trying to do is bring people in from the outside, experts who understand autism, but also family members that are concerned. So if that's something you'd like, I'd love for you to talk to us during our in-service training or our recruit class and just share some experiences, thoughts, and ideas. I'd love to work with you. Keith, glad you're focusing on training. Many people complain that it only takes about 25 weeks of training to become a police officer, but they not. Oh yeah, a lot of retraining, constant training. New what's new, and I'll tell you, training is expensive, right, Keith? It can be very, very expensive. So what I'm trying to do is send officers to schools where they become experts, where I can have 4 or 5 people teach de-escalation instead of bringing someone in because of how expensive it is. That we get ourselves trained up and become certified trainers, and then we can train more and more, not just maybe that one time, but have it a couple times a year. Judy, much love, appreciate, continues. Judy, thank you very much. Debbie, thank you so much. Keisha, same. I will help too. 25 years. Wow. Keisha, wow, I would love that. Wait, was she replying to me or someone else?
She was replying to Kim, who was talking about the autism training.
Oh, okay.
So she said that she would help also.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Scroll down for me just a little bit. Now look, they're replying to each other and stuff. It's throwing me out. Amy, hey Chief, you talk about understanding mental illness. My 17-year-old son has selective, is it autism? We were trying to correct him, but he has to have surgery soon. Have you heard of? I have not, and I was wondering if you were trying to put autism. I have not heard of that. So please, I don't know if there's something you can email us in, but I have not heard of that. I hope everything goes okay with this. Is he having surgery?
He's having surgery.
But he has to have surgery. Well, I hope everything goes well. certainly be in prayer for him, and let me know how surgery goes. But yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry. Will you be in Denby for the? I will. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to interact. I want to go by and shake people's hands and talk to the organizer. And it's going to be peaceful. We're not going to have any issues there. I understand their concern. And city council and the mayor, the city manager, really have moved very, very quickly to have those conversations about where the statue goes. And man, I don't want to speak for someone and get it wrong, but I think they were talking about maybe moving it to a museum or a curator or someone has uh, take possession or something along those lines. But they wanted to have. I guess they have to have some public hearing to get information first and let people come forward and have their say. But I certainly understand. Certainly seen protests around the country. We won't have anything like that here. I think the citizens get it, and I totally understand. And they called and let us know ahead of time. And yes, I will be there. So Shay, if you're there, look forward to seeing you. Jacob, thank you. Oh wow, Jacob, thanks, my friend. You'll do great. You'll do all right. Great work. What advice would you give other law enforcement agencies as it relates to community involvement? Jarrell, I never want to second guess any other department. Um, I think that it starts with the heart. I think it starts with leadership and commitment to community, commitment to the organization, and a commitment to doing the best for the citizens as you move forward. Try bring in the best people that you can, set a high standard, um, address minor behavior issues quickly. When you let things go, they escalate. Address stuff very, very quickly. So when we talk about how long does a citizen complaint last, I'd like to address that behavior before it comes one. Be on top of things, listen, have open conversations, and focus, focus, focus on the youth of the community. Everybody can get behind that. Be willing to sit down and listen, have good conversations, be respectful, create a culture, right? An organizational culture that is service oriented. There are bad people in the world who want to do bad things, with the shootings and homicides and things that we see. Um, Take care of victims and their families, show them the concern, be vigilant, reduce crime, be proactive, don't wait for something to happen, um, and just treat people how you'd want to be treated or how you'd want your family to be treated. And I think that's a start. I'm certainly not saying we're better than anybody else. I guess I'm just trying to give you a snapshot of what we're trying to do here, what I'm trying to do. Nancy, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Shay, thank you. It was a great question. Thank you very much. So, Jamie, we're a little bit past our 7 o'clock. I've held people way too long, given them too much to look at. I hope I haven't held you and tied up your evening. I want to thank everyone who chimed in. Again, big shout out to those who graduated this year, the young people. I wish you all the best, whether you're going down the road to the military or college or the workforce. Please be safe. Um, please know this, that I'm proud of you and I value you. Thank you for those that took the time. Wait, Darlene, what do you do if you get stopped by the police and you can't talk? Um, I think if you motion that and try to convey that, if you have something to write on, or if you're able to just point to your mouth and shake your head that you can't talk, or hit your ear maybe, I think those are all options. Um, yeah, I think those are some options. But again, I want to thank people for chiming in tonight. Some great questions. Annie, thank you. Please be safe. But I hope these are valuable. I know that I enjoy hearing from you. I do not do well talking to this little camera. Uh, but what was going on, Brooke? Last night on Bland Avenue, there was a traffic checkpoint. We'd gotten some speed complaints there, and we just did a driver's license checkpoint. I got to go out for a little bit and see some of the residents driving through and talk to the officers. But it was just a traffic checkpoint to check for driver's license. You sure you don't want to walk 5 miles? I have thought. You know what? I will tell you this. I'd be willing to try. Maybe we'd probably have some good conversation. So, I'll tell you what, if you're up for it, let me know. We can't do it in no 110-degree weather, but let me know. Um, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. God bless you in the police department. Wow, thank you. So, listen, I'm going to get off here and let you guys get back to doing things that are much more important. But I do appreciate the time. Really good questions tonight, good interaction. I appreciate you guys. Oh wait, is it complex?
Mm.
Complex Communication disorder. Okay. Selective mute anxiety, depression are often related. Much more research. Wow, I have never heard of that. I will look that up a little bit. Communication disorder. Okay. Wow. Keisha, thank you. Can you some near? Can some can some be set up near? Oh, traffic checkpoints. Yeah, we are looking at some things. We're looking at where we get some of our speed complaints, some of our accidents. So yeah, if that's a place we need to look at. Absolutely, absolutely. We have had a lot of speeders in our neighborhood at night. Brooke, that's good to know. Thank you. I'll certainly look into that. We'll go down to, oh, wow, Ivory, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, wow, cool. All right, so listen, thank you, Kim. Have a great evening. Appreciate your comments. Penny, thank you very much. So listen, guys, please be safe. I really enjoyed conversations tonight. We'll do this again soon. And, if anybody thinks about it, if there's somebody else you'd like to hear from, um, Liz, thank you. But if there's someone else you'd like to hear from, whether it's one of our domestic violence advocates or uh, internal affairs investigator, but I'd be open to that. I'm sure they do a better job than me anyway. But if there's someone in this profession that you would like to talk to, a recruiter, um, a background investigator, I'm open to that. Yeah, I'm open to that. Maybe I'd love to get Monica White on here to have an open discussion about Citizens Academy and what it is. I think you'd really learn a lot from her. She's such a great person, great spirit. So now, well, now we're getting some. These are locations for speed. Okay, great. Steve, thank you, my friend. Couch sale, yeah. So again, please take care of each other, guys. Please be safe. Thank you for all that you do for this community and this department. Thank you for spending time with me. God bless you, and we'll do it again soon. All right, take care.